Do y'all see what I was saying? Told y'all. I don't know what it is. And I don't think I'll ever be able to figure it out. I've lost the Vinnie Politan video I was going to play anyway. I don't know where it went. Angela with the barrel of reefs. Okay, well then let's just I don't know. First of all, I'm going to take this background off because it's going to be different topics today, and also I'm tired of seeing her face. I guess let's go ahead and talk about this bad boy that dropped yesterday.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to
Hello, 10 viewers on YouTube. Wow, thank you guys. Okay. 78 souls over here. I was just going to go ahead and play this for you because I mean, I have different updates for the day. If I can find the Vinny thing, we'll watch it. Lindsay Clancey is not in trial today, but there's a trailer that came out yesterday in regards to the documentary on Netflix about Mica Miller. And I was going to play it for you. So if you're with me on YouTube, I'm about to play it. If you haven't seen it, it's the trailer. Now, one thing about this that I haven't seen before is the different versions of her coming to the ring cam, going home. We had only seen that one from that one day that the police had let out there. But we haven't seen, every time somebody comes in here and says Patrick did it, I have to get a hand heart. We're not even talking about it. And you want to come up here and you're saying Patrick done it. But listen, I want to play this for you. Okay, let's watch.
share the song that came to my head the other day and see if it encourages you. I hope it does.
When she sang, she had such a way of you feeling close to God.
911, what's your emergency?
I just want my family to know where to find me.
Mica was 16 when she made church her life. She loved the church. She loved the people.
Mica and John Paul met at Solid Rock.
They look like the ultimate couple. This is what I want my marriage to look like.
Mica was influenced by John Paul because he was 15 years older than her.
She just listened to his voice, a voice of a pastor, a voice of a mentor, and then a voice of a husband.
She showed me that John Paul's signature was tattooed on her side permanently, like ownership. It kind of spiraled from there.
I'll fight tooth and nail to get what I want. What I want is the only thing that matters. I don't care what you have to say.
I think that he used the Bible over her.
Your husband wants sex. God does not send an angel from heaven to take care of that.
He physically took her out of her car and took her to the hospital.
My voice is struggling. My hair is falling out. I'm gaining weight.
There's incredible danger and unmet need.
She was speaking out about the abuse.
Sexual, physical, psychological abuse.
She needed a restraining order. Is it going to shut him down? Is it going to make him worse? Is it going to ramp it up?
Walk away. Do you want to go to jail?
Mica was being stalked 24/7. For her to drive an hour and a half into the middle of nowhere makes absolute zero sense.
I think justice for Mica at this point just looks like the truth.
Okay. So I'm going to put this back on like, yeah, that's fine right there. So if you were with me on YouTube, there's 8 people over there. You could watch the trailer with me. If you haven't, then you just heard it. This is coming up, I believe it's August 26th here on Netflix. They're on Netflix, not here. But I have to tell you, though, I did know about this documentary. Netflix, well, the production company who was working on this documentary texted them today and told them the trailer looked good, and we know we're looking forward to watching this. So I did know that this was going on for quite some time now, and everybody else did pretty much. So my question, I guess, on this is now, are we going to expect John Paul Miller to go sue Netflix? Since that is not settled in court, and I actually thought that they would wait until federal court is done before coming back with that, with the show. So I'm interested to see what happens next, especially once John Paul Miller looks at this and says, "Oh, okay, so these are lies, and now I'm going to go get my lawyer." And this is going to be another big hoopla event in court for years and years. Oh, thank you, Indigenous, for the beautiful heartbeat keys. I've not seen those before, and they are gorgeous. Thank you for sending. Yeah, so a lot of familiar faces we saw in there. I sat by Regina Ward in federal court when we went for that back in January, and those of us who have been covering Mica know the story from minute one, but it's interesting to me, or finally, like, I feel like they said, justice is truth. And so when it airs, that will be part of the justice, is coming out with the truth. And then also, thank you, Truth Teller. There is, where was I going? What was I saying? I done forgot anyway, but thank you, Truth Teller. Anyway, thank you for sending the me's to me. I appreciate that. We have 3.2 thousand likes, 153 souls in the room. So that is the update there. I want you to make sure. I'm just going to change this title to True Crime Law, because I don't even know what I'm talking about today. Yep, truth and justice. Very true. So even if John Paul Miller don't go to federal court for a long time, he still is going to be exposed to the world. Yes, Nolan Wells. Now, I like Officer Tatum. I don't know how many people in here watch him. I try to watch his show every single day. He's actually live right now. Thank you for the hand heart, Wisconsin Mama. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, you're sending 7 of them? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is amazing. Thank you for your support. I'm trying to get this to play. Well, I'm not going to do that one. This was from 3 hours ago.
It ain't about black or white, this side or this side.
So I know what he's going to talk about. I was looking forward to watching this show so we can watch this together. Okay. Again, I'm not trying to be that person. Yeah, we got to talk about that plea deal too, Holly. But they are still gallivanting around the country saying that this is because Nolan Wells is black. That's what I'm mad over before we watch this together. That part's what I'm mad over. I guess you heard what his parents have done in the last couple of days. Listen and watch to this.
Honest with the public about the investigation. Y'all haven't given over the phone to nobody, not local police or the FBI. They're getting ready to present evidence to a grand jury. They don't have a phone.
What the agreement was that the DA's office, this is the Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI, were going to together download and examine the phone.
So there's a press conference that Benjamin Crump had at the NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists. Now, I want y'all to put your thinking cap on, and I want you to, if you were a betting person, do you think I'm welcome at that place?
No.
I'm just saying, because it's funny that black people are mad at me for doing real journalism. I'm not saying all, because we know the same black people know what it is, but why are black people mad at me because I interviewed, and then the black people didn't want to talk to me? Benjamin Crump, them, I reached out to them, they didn't want to talk to me. And then the other side reached out to me, and we were open to do an interview with anybody. And they mad because I won't be biased for black people. That's called stupidity. And the same people that would invoke Martin Luther King is mad because I won't judge a person by the color of their skin. I'm judging them by the content of their character, and they mad. So here's the press conference of them addressing the cell phone issue, because as you know, if you've watched me, you won't hear from other people because they have a vested interest to lie to you. But if you listen to me, you know that the family and the attorneys representing the family did not give over the cell phone to authorities for them to investigate and potentially make arrests according to accusations that things had been deleted from the phone.
Why?
Here's their response in their special press conference at the NABJ. Roll it.
What the agreement was that the DA's office, and this is the Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI, were going to together download and examine the phone. So it's done one time with everybody together, right? This is very common in the law. I mean, what you all may be more used to is when there's a terrible car accident, and then there's an examination of that car, and everybody comes together one time. They don't move that car around, and everybody does their own thing. This is what is supposed to happen. We're waiting for the DA to determine the time, the place, the date. Let us know, and we are going to be there with our forensics team and anybody else, but it's done one time, one examination. We're ready for it to happen.
All right, so they alluded to Nancy Grace. If you're out there, hey, Nancy, they don't have the phone. They haven't given the phone over. Clearly, I said it on your show, and now everybody else can hear it. Let me tell you why this is nonsensical and why it's hypocritical in part and why it frustrates me. Y'all got to think, I'm not looking at this where I'm on team black or white. I'm just Brandon Tatum observing what is happening in this case. Why would she give an analogy of a singular car accident where they do an examination of that car accident one time? Well, the autopsy is not a one-time occurrence. You guys had a secondary autopsy done. Why can't you give the phone over to investigators and then have a second extraction done for your people?
Exactly.
Why do you have to wait a month?
Why?
Like the thing is I don't know what the prosecutors are evaluating in this situation, but this cannot be precedent that's set that a family get a chance to say, I don't believe nothing that the state does, and we need everything to be delayed and evaluated with our team and their team on every single case that happens in the state of Mississippi. There's been 3,500 black men, black women have been killed by black people in Mississippi in the last 10 years. Do you think every family get a chance to sit down and say, my child is a victim? We have to go over every forensic extraction and evidence with the DA. Every family get a chance to do this. That's not reasonable. Let me let them finish because there's a lot more to get into. Roll it.
So you want to start a podcast, but you're not sure how. Riverside's got you covered. First, go to riverside.com and open an account. And when you're ready to record.
Nolan's birthday is next Wednesday, August 19th. It is going to be extremely difficult for his mother, his father, his family, because this August 19th will be like no other that they've ever had for the last 19 years.
Let me just say, do you know how many other mothers in the country have to mourn the passing of their son, whose birthday is probably also August 19th? Maybe their birthday's today. Maybe their birthday was while you were talking about Nolan's birthday. And I'm going to remind you that Nolan Wells' mother lost custody of 2 children, which has nothing to do with losing him, but everything to do with exactly what kind of picture they're painting in order to pull wool over everyone's eyes.
I mean, it's a milestone when your child gets to be 18 years old. You try to breathe a little easier every now. You say, man, we almost got them there. They're at the cusp of being an adult, cusp of manhood.
As a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I'm the second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. We are demanding a full federal investigation. Kash Patel, we're demanding a full federal investigation as to what has actually happened to Nolan.
Why would it be a federal investigation? What qualifies this as a federal investigation? So now they want to take it to the grand jury, but now they're asking the federal government to pick up the investigation. Why is that? There are rules in order for it to become a federal investigation, and I don't think this fits any of them. We don't even know what happened yet.
Wells.
So let me put this in perspective and we'll let them finish. This is why I'm frustrated with how they're acting. It's embarrassing to a certain degree. They come out and they do a press conference like this and they go, we are demanding that you can't demand. The boys that they are accusing of potentially killing Nolan have already given their phones over to the FBI voluntarily. Why don't you tell the public that they are cooperating with the FBI already? It's because you don't want the public to know that the other side is doing anything so people can continue to foster violence against other innocent people that are not involved in the murder of Nolan Wells. This is what frustrates.
So the state can ask for the FBI's assistance. It doesn't mean that it's a federal investigation. You just heard him here that they already handed it over to the FBI. It's because the state can ask for the help of the FBI or ask to use their resources. And it doesn't have to be a federal investigation to do that.
Straight me, these people can be honest. It ain't about black and white, this side or this side. Just be honest with the public about the investigation. Y'all haven't given over the phone to nobody. Not local police or the FBI. They're getting ready to present evidence to a grand jury. They don't have a phone. They may very well have determined that, or may not be able to determine that anybody did anything.
Yes. They are so hell-bent on getting this to a grand jury as soon as possible, and they want to find out what's going on as soon as possible. But you're going to a grand jury with not all the evidence, because if you're claiming there's evidence on the phone, then you're withholding evidence, and you should be charged with the crime. It's called interfering with an investigation.
Nolan. But if there was something deleted from the phone that is a crime of tampering with evidence, people will go to jail. But they're getting ready to present to the grand jury with no phone. Therefore, if somebody did something, they have no evidence. And the grand jury is going to come back and say nobody did anything. And they're going to be mad when y'all the ones didn't give the phone over. You can give the phone to them the day after he died. If you suspect things have been, so it can be preserved.
They don't want to hand it over because there's nothing on it.
And they could extract it. Send it to your people. Let them extract
there is
it.
Still a story there.
A secondary extraction will allude to tampering if the state decided to tamper with the phone. It frustrates me that our country is divided because people are stupid and evil.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
Sorry, commercial as usual.
It don't make any sense to me. Let her finish.
We want to make sure that every stone is unturned because his life matters. All of our children's and our families' lives matter.
Yes, they do.
And we must fight back. We must stand up and we must demand accountability for this family's loss.
Why are you demanding accountability when there is nothing that has happened that will lead you to believe that they're not doing a fair investigation? If I sit here before Benjamin Crump and say, what have they done that's unfair? They lied and said that the sheriff made a determination. He cannot. It was the day they found his body. He did not make a determination. Why are you lying to the public? He said, at this point, we do not have evidence of foul play. It appears to be a drowning, but there needs to be an investigation. That is what was said. But they get on TV and they blast it out there like, look, he already made a determination and nobody know. It's impropriety because at some point in history in Mississippi, black people were done wrong. So therefore, every investigation is false. Every white person is wrong. That's not fair or reasonable.
I agree, Angela.
Let Stu Head give another statement. Roll it.
It's about the evidence, nothing else. And this family has always said from day one, even when I called Reverend Allen, we talked to him, they have been consistent. We want to know what happened to our child. Everything else is just, it's just clickbait and everything. It's about what happened to our child. Black press, NABJ, we need you now more than ever to keep everybody.
This whole thing is clickbait. Their whole spiel is clickbait. Now, I've tried to be patient with this and tried to be with the mourning mother on this. This is, I've never seen such a parade of a nothing burger in my life. Hand over the phone.
Focus. What happened to this 18-year-old black teenager in Mississippi? Because there have been questions when you look at the history of the Deep South where young black people are unalive and nobody ever gets any answers.
But the
well, we want Nolan Wells not to be like many others that came before him.
And that is why, as I said earlier, August 28th anniversary.
And this bobblehead is going to talk about marching somewhere. They're marching. They're demanding the FBI. They're demanding accountability with no evidence that there's no accountability. They're doing an investigation just like they do with everybody other 35 other black people that have been murdered. Why are you insinuating that they're not? That is leading to chaos, drama, and division that does not need to happen. And why does it always seem to be black people doing this? I feel like when white people get killed, even if it's suspicious, they're not out here marching and crying and spitting on everybody because what happens is when you cry wolf so much, people don't believe you. When it comes out that Nolan drowned, what do we got? What do we do to
what
believe?
Are they gonna do?
From the National Black Caucus and all this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about this topic. It's called cyclospora. And you ain't gonna remember the name of it, but just know if you eat something and you have explosive diarrhea, you probably want to remember this. This is one of probably the most viral foodborne illnesses that is going around the country. A lot of you guys have heard a lot of chatter about it. Let's pull up this chart. It appears that there's about 4,100 people just last week, according to the CDC, that has been, I guess, contaminated by this illness. And that brings the total to about 30,000 people that have it across the nation. Now, I know that people may think, well, it's 300 million people that live in the United States of America. But when there's you at work or on an airplane with uncontrollable diarrhea, I think it means a lot to you. And you know who they're going to blame, right?
But
they're trying to blame RFK. Like they always do. They cannot be reasonable. They have to blame RFK for what's going on in this outbreak. So I want to talk about this because I think people need to know or have solutions for if this happens to you and you end up eating something that makes you ill. We have some remedies for you. And I want to bring in Allison Karpowicz, she's a health advisor at Brightcore, and y'all know our friends over at Brightcore always have incredible information for us. And she's going to share some preventative measures as it relates to this cyclospora. Allison, welcome to the show.
Are we switching topics? I'm confused. Now he's talking to somebody about this illnesses that's going around. Hold on a minute. I'm going to try to fast forward and get through whatever just happened here. Well, that's the rest of the show. So that's all he's got to say about that. And that's fine with me because that said enough right there. That said enough right there, right? This madness has to stop. I wouldn't go on a tour the United States unless I knew exactly what had happened to my son. It's a horrible thing that has happened, regardless if it was an accident or what. It's just too much. I'm going to check in and let me switch topics again because I need to update you on this. Okay. As y'all know, I had put out a video yesterday that done horribly. And I thought I'd done great explaining, kind of what is going on here with Luigi Mangione. They are, so who is live? Fox Local New York is live. There's a live feed. If you want to come over to the Big Watty and watch it with it, there's a live feed outside of the courthouse. This is the courthouse in Manhattan, the federal courthouse, and he is supposed to enter a guilty plea today. I gave you this news yesterday about 10 minutes after it broke, though we had heard about rumors about his plea. It wasn't confirmed and can't be confirmed until he does it today. So let me explain why he's giving a plea, and then I will unmute so we can listen to what Fox Local News has to say about what's going on as we speak, okay? How many people in this room, there's 161 souls, have no idea who Luigi Mangione is? Oh, wow. Quite a few of you. Holy moly. Okay. Let me give you a little rundown because there's quite a few of you. I'm going to make it quick because this has been a long time coming, and it's been a long time. So there's so much, but let me give you the timeline. Okay, September 24th, 2024. Okay, that's the day Luigi Mangione arrives in New York. That's the day it started. But on December the 4th, because he's preparing. This is Luigi. December the 4th, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is shot and killed outside of the New York Hilton Midtown ahead of an investor conference. The masked gunman flees into Central Park on an e-bike, later taking a taxi to a Manhattan bus terminal. So, huge CEO Brian Thompson of United Healthcare, which is a main healthcare company, going to a meeting, ambushed by this guy, takes him down, allegedly. There's a manhunt. They find him at a McDonald's on December the 9th, 2024 in Altoona, Pennsylvania. They find a 3D printed handgun, something with manifesto. He had fake IDs. So the reasoning, even though he hasn't said that, I mean, I guess he has, but the gist of it is he felt like, United Healthcare doesn't help people. They're just taking money. Healthcare claims aren't getting approved.
He was covered pretty much from head to toe, Luigi Mangione. He had a mask on, pulls out a gun. It has a silencer on it and fires multiple shots into Brian Thompson's back.
And here is the statement. Here are the words. Quote, "I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan," Mangione tells the judge, adding, "I understand that my actions would place him in fear of death or bodily harm, bodily injury. I knew what I was doing was illegal." It seems to me, obviously these are his words,
right?
But those are carefully calculated words that clearly he has gone over,
an update,
and they have figured out
minute
exactly
report
what he
he's
wanted
telling
to say.
the judge. He's
Than his
speaking
defense
right
team
now as we speak,
before
Luigi
sitting here. I
Mangione.
mean, but those are the
Speak to
words. I shot
Now,
Mr.
very
Thompson
quickly,
in
I'm going to
Manhattan.
explain why.
And this is
Why is he
something
entering
like
the
you
plea
were
of guilty
saying right
today?
now. This is not
And
a
that's
haphazard
because there
thing where
is
he
a
just decides,
this is
oh,
for
I'm
the
going to say
federal
this.
stalking
Premeditated.
charges.
Yeah.
This is
They
not
sit
for the
down,
murder charges.
they go over the
The
exact
state has the murder
language,
charges.
and then they go over that
And the
language
defense
again
wants him
because
to
his
put in a
legal team,
guilty
in
plea
doing
so that they
so,
can
is
take
trying to
that
do the
to
best
the
job
state
as well
and say,
for their
"No,
client,
you can't do this
who is
on the
now
basis of
pleading
double
guilty
jeopardy
to
because
murder."
it's the same thing."
And in some sense, what
The
he
defense
is
is
saying
going to
there
say it's not the
is
same
that
thing
I had
because
a
you're
problem with
stalking
United
and
Healthcare in
we're over
particular.
here
That's
trying
right.
to get
Because
to
I had a medical
murder.
issue.
Because I had a medical
Okay,
issue.
so the defense is
I
not
was
a really
upset
good
about the
defense.
costs
I
of
think the
this,
prosecution,
and this is why I did it.
that's their whole goal in this
But
is to get him to
so
put
much of
in that
his
plea
support, as you
so that they
know,
can get him
was
out
from
on a
people
double
who saw
jeopardy,
him as this
and that
vigilante
he
of
already escaped
justice
the death penalty,
because of
already on the
attention
federal
that
level,
he,
already got out
in
of
that
that. This
manifesto,
does
had
take a charge of life in prison
allegedly
without
said,
the
which it
possibility
looks like
of
now we can
parole.
sort of
So
confirm
that's
it.
where we're at now. Let's take a listen
And
and
that he
catch up.
stood as this vigilante of justice who was going to carry this out. This is sort of narrowing that a little bit. So, Linda, we'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, it looks like we're getting very close to the end of this guilty plea from Luigi Mangione. The words that he said in court this morning: "I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan." We'll be right back.
I'm sorry, I'm muted. I hit the wrong button. I'm so sorry. So now they're saying they're coming to the end of it, and I'm going to expect them to have some sort of press conference at the end. But that's why. They want to get him out on a double jeopardy charge. And I don't think that's fair because federal is different than state, number one. Number two, federally, he's not being charged for the murder. He's only being charged with the stalking. Because, like I said, he did arrive in New York on November the 24th. He got up there from a bus. He used a fake ID under Mark Rosario, and he checked into the New York City hostel on the Upper West Side. So there was planning and there was stalking. There was stalking to see if it was premeditated. Now, it was so crisscross because the government, it's so oddly to try to be doing it government and state at the same time. I don't really see that a lot. So now the state is different. Well, if he's putting in this guilty plea at the federal court, can do life in prison without the possibility of parole. But on the state level, that's where the murder charge is. And his trial for that starts September the 8th, 2026. September the 8th, 2026. That's when the state, and they are going to allow trial coverage. It's going to be, and it's going to be limited coverage, but they did decide on that. And then yesterday, there's when they done the sudden change of plea hearing, or maybe even the day before we started hearing about this. And then I told y'all yesterday that he was going to show up in court today, and he did. Let's listen.
On a routine basis. They are the only ones. That's why we're getting this information.
And it looks like here, and the key words there were, "I shot Mr. Thompson." And then the next.
So the hearing is over. The hearing is over. This just now coming in. Judge Garnett sets the sentencing for December the 18th, 2026. Okay. Mangione has shown virtually no emotion during the proceeding, but has answered questions solemnly and clearly. The judge accepted his guilty plea. The judge asked Mangione how he pleads to the 2 counts. Mangione says guilty.
Next thing that we see here, the judge asks Mangione how he pleads to the 2 counts. Mangione says guilty. If you want to pick it up from there, Linda.
You know, it's really powerful when you see those words and you see the written word. Alex, can we go ahead and go back to the part where Dan was reading before? There we go. I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan. Quotation marks. There he is in a court of law and a federal court in this country, admitting to murdering the CEO of a healthcare company. And it was 2 years ago in December. And so much of this information we have now known about for quite some time now. You know, it happened December 4 of 2024. Within several months, we had so much of this information.
Overwhelming evidence in some sense.
Overwhelming, because you had the surveillance videos and the pictures of him throughout this city and elsewhere. And that was starting on November 24, like I was talking to you about, arrived here in the city. And he came with the intent of killing Brian Thompson.
And that's what he is now admitted to. And so let's go out to Stephanie Bertini. If we take a look at our big board. Oh, no, there we just go right to her. Stephanie, so we are getting these live updates as they are coming through. I don't know if you're seeing it as well, or if there's been any reaction from any of the crowd that is out there this morning, but it appears that Mr. Mangione has entered his guilty plea and has directly admitted to killing Brian Thompson. And the latest update that we have is that the hearing is now over. So, Stephanie, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I've been following those updates from inside the courtroom. Dan, as you mentioned, of course, most reporters are not even in the courtroom. A lot of them are outside, and the reporters inside, they don't have their cell phones. So we are getting information from the journalists inside, and then it's essentially being funneled outside. There is a long media row. I'm at the end of one of the media rows. Right over my shoulder here, another media row, all eyes on federal court in
It does look
Manhattan
like they're getting ready
today.
for a
It was
presser.
11 o'clock, that
Here they come.
scheduled hearing, and it was scheduled because we expected Mangione to change his plea to guilty. And now we've heard him say, yes, I killed Brian Thompson. Those updates were coming here to us as we've been getting that information. I've been getting it via my cell phone, Fox News giving us information, of course, our mothership. And also we're watching the reporting that's happening in real time, Dan. And so it is both an advantage and a challenge when we think about the technology we have to be able to report today outside the courtroom, because we can bring you that information almost in real time. And everything is so crucial and important, Dan, because you hit it exactly. There is so much public interest. We have a lot of onlookers here outside the courtroom, people with cell phones, taking photos, taking videos. They've come here to catch a glimpse, essentially, of anything. We did not see Mangione, as you could probably imagine, outside the perimeter here, but we know it was right after 11 that he appeared in court. We know that he then delivered a statement, and we know that before that, his lead attorney essentially did indicate to the court that he would be changing his plea. So the big situation now revolves around that state case. I have a legal expert just feet away from me because we're going to be bringing him in for the nude broadcast, Dan. But I was debriefing with him, and what he's basically said is, because as we've been talking about, Dan, you've been talking about it with Linda there in the newsroom. This is a big deal for that state case because now he has said, look, I'm guilty. I did this. So essentially, it could mean under double jeopardy here in New York that state case becomes no more. He was actually scheduled to start the state trial in September. The federal trial was scheduled for January. So now a lot of questions about what happens next. This is a huge turn in a major case, a story that has really taken not only local, national, but also international interest. So many people have been weighing in on Mangione, his possible motives online. And so we can imagine now that we're going to see that current electrify because, again, there is so much public interest in this, Dan.
Stephanie, thank you very much for that reporting. Stand by if you can, just to get people up to speed if you're just tuning us in here on Newsroom Live, because we are getting these updates live as they happen. The hearing is over. Luigi Mangione has accepted the plea of guilty
about to do a press
from
conference. If you
the
want to come over
suspect
and
in the killing, no longer a suspect, but from the man who shot and killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione, according to reporters inside, has shown virtually no emotion during the proceeding, but has answered questions solemnly and clearly. So, go ahead.
And Dan, it's really important to point out here too, because we no longer have to use the word reportedly or the word allegedly. Now he is a murderer. He's admitted it. He admitted it in a federal court. And as several attorneys that I've been hearing talk about this case in the past 2 days, including criminal defense attorney Peter Franklin, who was superb, who you have had on today, it is not a plea deal. This was not a negotiation that went on between the feds and his legal team. They didn't offer him anything. It is a plea. He simply changed his mind from not guilty to guilty. And that's it.
Exactly. And so the question now moves from the headline that Mangione pled guilty today to the bigger legal question of what is going to happen next. A guilty plea in federal court, as you just mentioned, does resolve this part of the case, but it would not necessarily end the New York State murder case. And as you know, because you've been to the state courthouse many times, I'm sure covering this, this is some element of this. Alvin Bragg and his team, the Manhattan DA, worked incredibly hard to dig up a lot of the evidence and things along those lines. And they fully expected to be able to move forward with this.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the murder happened. And
building a brand is difficult. The Sticky brand makes it easy to share your small business with the world. Use stickers in your business by adding them to shopping bags.
Hold on, we have to make it. You have to watch this. They force you to watch them now. Okay, here we go.
Walk in, and it looks like Jessica Tisch.
Yeah, the NYPD commissioner. We were just looking at some video on the big board here, and I think it was during the break, and I saw her walking, and I'm like, wait a second, I think that's the police commissioner. And I saw her back going into the building, and apparently that is her because she's going to be a part of that press conference that they're going to be having shortly. But yes, you know, Alvin Bragg's office, the DA's office, they worked incredibly hard on this along with the NYPD because it was because of NYPD detectives and them scouring hours and hours and hours of surveillance video. I mean, it could be hundreds of hours of surveillance video that they scoured.
To get those 2 or 3 images.
To be able to get those 2 or 3 images. In addition, there was that one image, the infamous image of him in the back of a cab. And his face is also covered by a face mask. That was one of the early images as well. That was the NYPD. They were the ones who found that image in a yellow New York City cab. So there you go. There it is right there. And you can see Crime Stoppers up there with the NYPD. And there he is outside of the cab, walking outside of it. So
it's interesting you say Crime Stoppers because at this point, this is the person that they were looking for. Call 1-800-577-TIPS. And so in the back of the taxi, and it's those bushy eyebrows that in a sense was one of the links between all these different photos. I'm not sure if these people are involved. It doesn't seem like they're involved in the case. Maybe they are, maybe they're not.
Well, anybody, that's a huge courthouse. So anybody could be coming out for if somebody could be there unrelated to this case, absolutely, but just coming out. But I do want to point out here, those 2 pictures where we're seeing him in the cab and outside the cab, those were the initial pictures, photos that the NYPD released. Those were the first ones that they were able to get. And then it was a couple of days later where they had that photo of him inside the hostel where he had taken down his mask because he was flirting with the woman behind the counter who was saying, I need to see your whole face,
right there.
Which is that one right there. So that came a couple of days later. So all of those pictures all together, then they were blasted out nationally because it was a nationwide manhunt. That lasted for, was December 4 was the murder. December 5th, they launched that national manhunt. And then December 9, 5 days after the murder, that's when he was identified in that McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
And just sort of zooming out here, this case obviously became an international case, not just because of that surveillance video and how this assassination, in a sense, took place, not just because of who Brian Thompson was, the head of the United Healthcare, when clearly it looked like this person was targeted because of who he was.
Correct.
And then, in some sense, because Mangione is this young guy who is 28 years old from a well-to-do family,
highly
educated in some sense. All of this adds to the intrigue, and then the reasoning that at least was laid out in some of the early manifesto information that I'm a vigilante in a sense, trying to bring attention to this inequity in the healthcare system as he described it.
That's right. And it's not just about me. I'm trying to help all of you who have been wronged by the healthcare system in this country.
Exactly. And then so we saw his supporters grow. We saw a website that was created for his defense, more than $1 million that was sort of raised. But that's why I think it's interesting today
because for 11 a.m.
he didn't talk
Friday,
about
December
he
the
didn't
8th,
talk about how,
2026.
I did this because
Judge Margaret said if either
the
side
things that I believe with the United States
healthcare
healthcare system and what I think is
he would
wrong.
like to be notified.
Did you notice that? It was very narrow.
Focused on him.
Exactly.
This is what happened to me.
Exactly.
This is why I did it.
Right.
And that's it.
And you can't argue that it was an impulsive decision. But that because obviously he planned it, but in a sense that this, and I wonder if that he's hoping will influence the decision from the judge later on about what a sentencing might be.
Well, Peter was talking to you earlier saying that he could get up, Peter Frankel, a criminal defense attorney here in the city. Wasn't he saying to you that he could end up getting sentenced to 30 to 40 years?
He said that this charge, the 2 charges, stalking that result in death, on the federal side, carry the possibility of life in prison.
Okay.
But as you say, 30 to 40 years is what the defense team will argue, because on the state side, if you're convicted, it's a mandatory life sentence. And so it's all a high stakes gamble in some sense, right?
That's right. But the judge has already said this morning that whatever the sentence is, he has to serve 85% of his sentence.
Yes. And so
that's a huge chunk.
That is a
for
huge
a 28-year-old.
chunk. It is, but it's not the whole thing.
No, it's
so
not
if you get a life sentence along those lines. So we have about 2 minutes until our noon broadcast starts here. And we are waiting, just in case anyone is curious, we are waiting to see the federal prosecutors who are expected to leave this courtroom in just a few minutes. It's going to be Jamie McDonald, who is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and also James Barnacle Jr., the FBI New York Assistant Director in charge. And then significantly, Jessica Tisch, the NYPD Commissioner.
That's right.
Because you imagine that her perspective on this, obviously not a federal agent in any sense, but her perspective will be, this is the result of the
What does
hard
that
work
girl do?
from the men and women from my department.
That's right, from the NYPD. But also something else
Who
that
is she
she will
talking to?
say is that there is a close connection between not just the NYPD, but also the feds, the FBI.
Yeah.
And it was all of the federal partners that they work closely with on a day-to-day basis, by the way, because we have federal task forces with the NYPD. And so they do work hand in hand together. So she definitely will be making that point at that news conference today.
All right. Linda Schmidt, thank you very much. I know you'll still be on this case throughout the rest of the afternoon as we cover things here, not just in the noon, but also all of our Newsroom Live at 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and throughout the rest of the day. But we do want to head up to Ryan Christopher up in
the meantime, we can
the
just watch
studio,
a live feed
who is
because
going to
AP
pick
is
up our
live outside of
coverage
the
as we
courthouse.
keep track of
I mean, I'm pretty
the
sure they're
very
going to
important
continue
breaking
coverage, but I'm
headline
just
news of the
turning
day.
it
Luigi
down
Mangione changing
until
his
they
plea
switch
from not guilty
their
to
noon
guilty.
show,
The
and
judge
then
accepting that plea in court this morning. Luigi Mangione said the words,
I don't know if
shot
that. I thought that
Brian
woman was
Thompson.
about to protest.
I knew it was illegal.
He did not.
So we'll send it up to Ryan Christopher, who's going to continue our coverage this afternoon.
Fox 5. This is the noon.
Well, breaking right now at noon, guilty plea. Luigi Mangione pleading guilty to federal stalking charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Welcome here to the noon. I'm Ryan Christopher, and we begin with that guilty plea in the case that has gripped the nation since United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He was shot.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing, ain't it? We ain't even got the Alec Murdaugh.
Killed in
today.
Midtown Manhattan in December
Trial
of
hearing.
2024, nearly 2 years ago. But let's get right to Stephanie Bertini, who is live just outside of the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. This is breaking news, Stephanie. What can you tell us so far?
Hey, I mean, what a major twist in this very high-profile case. So more or
Yeah, it was
less.
around 11:44
Right.
when we were walking out. And just to give you a little bit of a sense of it, we can also let everyone know that the Thompson family was inside the courtroom as well for today's hearing. Luigi Mangione did make statements. He was allowed to basically read aloud, what he's admitting to, to which he kind of just went through with sentences, just explaining how he came to New York City, how he initially posed as a insurance investor to gain information on a conference that healthcare organizations, including United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, were going to be attending in December. And that's how he was able to find out the location of where Brian Thompson was going to be.
This stuff is very interesting for a lot of people.
I
We got to
heard
wrap because
that.
the control room is telling me we have a live presser right now. We will come back shortly. Let me throw it back inside. We'll be back in a few.
Certainly, right now, we're going to take a listen to that presser. This is with the defense team in this Luigi Mangione case. Take a listen.
Isolated event. Mr. Mangione has been unfairly treated since the outset in every way and has successfully fought off terrorism charges and the death penalty, while also fighting at the same time 2 simultaneous prosecutions in 2 jurisdictions who are trying to punish him twice for the exact conduct. He's been treated differently from every other defendant charged with this offense in New York. However, thankfully, New York law does not allow this. New York law does not permit a person to be prosecuted and punished twice for the exact
It's not the exact same
under a
thing.
statute that governs successive prosecutions. It's also known as the double jeopardy.
No.
Today's guilty plea triggers this statute, and we just filed our motion in state court explaining why the state charges must be dismissed under New York's double jeopardy protections. We will not be taking any other questions. Thank you so much for coming.
And again, that was the defense team for Luigi Mangione in court after he just pled guilty in federal court. And with dueling federal and state cases right now, there's a lot to break down. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Peter Frankel joining us right now.
I don't know,
on
is
the Noon.
anybody else
Peter, how does this guilty plea shape both the state and federal cases moving forward?
Yeah, Ryan, it's a great question. You know, this was referred to as an emergency hearing. This really wasn't an emergency. I think a lot of people expected that at some point Mr. Mangione was going to have to take a plea in this federal case in order to try to trigger double jeopardy, which essentially means the inability of the state prosecution to go forward to be barred because he's already pled guilty to the same or similar charges. So what's going to happen now is his defense team is going to file a motion. Obviously, the state is already aware of what's transpired this morning, and their position is going to be that the state indictment has to be dismissed.
And I was going to say that his defense team just mentioned that he did avoid the death penalty. Is that certainly the case here in this federal case? And how could this evolve moving forward? Because again, we're still dealing with two cases, but you're saying the state case will likely be dropped?
I think it likely will, and you have to remember that notwithstanding what sentence he ends up getting in the federal case,
my coverage for today.
whatever happens in the state case, he was originally charged with a death
and
penalty
hanging in there
case
as
in
we
federal
switch through
court,
everything
as
turned
well
around
as
that's been
a
going on
life
today.
without parole
By the
charge
way,
in the state
here's
court. Both of those were dismissed.
Remember that lady that was on the
the
run?
defense team was at the
killing
point
that
where
man in
they were
Florida?
kind of running out of
Remember when we done the
options,
show about
and the
her?
best option available that was left was to put themselves in the
told
position
her.
where they could ask the federal Judge Garnett, for a non-life sentence, and also seek at the same time
I love her shirt.
to
It
have the
says
state
forced to be reckoned
prosecution
with.
dismissed.
Not
Do you think this
anymore.
is the outcome that the defense team
All right.
was looking
Thank
for?
you for
And
joining
for
me
lack of
this
better terms,
morning.
the
I
best case
appreciate your
scenario
time
in
and
Luigi's case?
listening to
Yeah,
me
you know,
getting caught
I
up.
think it's a
It
really
makes
good
me very
question
happy.
because
And I love you so very much.
there
Make
was an
sure that you follow me
overwhelming
on every
amount of
social media
evidence of guilt
platform
in
ever,
these cases.
especially
So
YouTube,
for him to
Facebook,
think that there was a
Insta, X,
possibility
and
to
all
go to
things
trial in
Steph's
both
Case
cases
House.
and being
Until then, the
acquitted,
most important thing
I
to
don't
me
think was ever a
is
realistic
for you to
thought
be
for
kind
them.
to one another,
So
because that's free
this
to do.
is probably ending up where, for at least
Thank
some
you,
period of
YouTube.
time, they
Love
anticipated
you.
that it would be.
And let's also talk about that federal case still moving forward. The date is set for December 18th. Do you think that is still going to move forward?